Facebook. I was like, yeah, we just got a fucking email for a violation the other day.
Cable's not in her name, is it?
Mm-mm.
Right, so what's she care?
Couch is sitting on today.
Huh?
So I feel like the couch is sitting on today.
Camera zoomed out.
Do what?
The camera is zoomed out. By about 2%. It's usually closer. Or it's facing a little bit to the right than the other.
I probably hit the damn thing when I was putting that up the other day.
Somebody's singing back there?
That's what I should have got when I walked to the store.
Mm-hmm. What movies are we talking about?
I don't know, I could just put it in there just in case there's anything interesting to talk about.
Alright. Did you ever play Warcraft?
For a very short time. Well, World of Warcraft I played for a very short time. Warcraft 2 and 3 I was very addicted to for a period of time. Same with StarCraft. Yeah, Andrew didn't even read the last 2 messages, so I was like, fuck it. In other news, Lucky put out 2 new mask designs. He's auctioning off some of the masks that were in the actual music video, including the ones that had the LED lights in them.
Alright, well. Whenever you're ready. Alright.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Dirty Shore Underground. Tonight is going to be an odd night of randomness. Happens every so often. It's been a slow week for everything music related, movies, TV, unless you watch Scream, which ain't a bad show. But before we get into it, Rob,
make sure you check out DirtyShoreUnderground.com. New episodes of the podcast are available every Thursday. While you're there on DirtyShoreUnderground.com, make sure you click through the Amazon link. It's a great way to support the podcast. With 4th of July coming up and all your summer holidays, you're getting ready to take that vacation. Everybody's getting their supplies on Amazon. Why wouldn't you? Sign up for Amazon Prime. You get 2-day delivery. All that can be had through the Amazon link right there on DirtyShoreUnderground.com. Costs you nothing extra. You shop just like you normally do. And as a thank you for sending you there, Amazon gives us a little something. And that helps us to keep the lights on, keep the bandwidth flowing, and keep this free content coming to you. It's the best way, like I said, to support the podcast. And it has no impact on you whatsoever. Make sure you're also following at Dirty Shore UG on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We post pretty often, and as we're going to talk about a little later, it's going to be a great weekend this weekend to be following, especially on Facebook. But so that's at Dirty Shore UG on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And of course, if you're following there, you'll get out links to the live stream, which is available on YouTube. We are live streaming this and every episode there at youtube.com/c/Dirty Shore UG-OTA. Scroll on down to the bottom. There's a section that says live comments. It's a place that you can join in. You are just going to make a comment. It's going to pop up there on the right side of the screen. We'll read out comments as they come in, and you can actually be part of the show. So if you have questions or you want to make a point, just feel free to do it right there. So if you're not paying attention, if you're not joining us on the live stream when we record, and again, the only way you'll know that is if you're following at Dirty Shore UG on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, then you're missing out on half the show. You can join in and be part of it. You can watch the video and participate in the comments section there. So make sure you join us there.
so where would you like to start?
So let's start with Swizz, because I mean it's if anybody who's been paying attention to this podcast at all knows that since since Illmind 8 dropped, since Illmind 8 was due, we have been talking about
I'll bring a tea to bed.
Since last fall, we've been following the Funk Volume situation. It started out with a where is Illmind of Hobson 8? Continued on to what's going on with Funk Volume, then the breakup, then Hobson announcing the breakup, and then Dame talking about, or I guess Funk Volume kind of silently responding to the breakup. Then we got Underground Prodigy coming out with Illmind 8 and the first track. Swizz responded. There's been a little bit of a back and forth. So the newest chapter has come out now, and Swizz is brought out a new single.
More to say.
More to say. So what were your thoughts on... first question is this. I thought that it was a response to what Hobson has been saying. Is it a response to what Hobson has been saying?
I'm not sure, because some of Hobson's newer posts haven't been showing up. So I'd actually have to go look at that one myself. But I felt
just
like,
judging from the track itself.
Verse 1 I felt like was completely about Hobson. Verse 2 it almost felt like it could have been about somebody else to me.
Okay.
But it might just be the way I took it. Because in a sense it almost sounded like Illmind 6 kind of.
Like going at Illmind 6, or
No, like, kind of like he was talking about somebody he grew up with, not necessarily Hobson, but somebody else.
right?
And I do believe there was one point in the song he actually said something about them building, which we know that we're talking about Funk, but he was talking about Funk Volume,
Right.
building that together. That we definitely knew was talking about Hobson.
No, yeah. So Hobson did not grow up in the same area as Dame and Swizz, right?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. So then that part about them growing up, sleeping on the couch, that all stuff couldn't be about Hobson.
Not that I'm aware of. Somebody will probably prove me wrong.
Oh, so welcome Flash and Colin to the podcast. Members of the Anthem Alliance podcast. So if you're not checking out new episodes of the Anthem Alliance podcast, they are available. It's a sister show to this show. It's available at AnthemAlliancePodcast.com. New episodes every single Friday. So make sure you're checking that out. So sorry for my silence here, but I was looking up the lyrics to Swizz's song, and I mean basically I think the first one was definitely at Hobson. But you're right about the second. You're right about the second verse because it starts out with, "We opened our door to you, and you and Dino were beefing. My dad used to feed you, provided you a bed to sleep in." But if they didn't grow up together, then certainly that could not be him.
Although we have, like I said, we have no confirmation on that whatsoever. So
Right.
I myself don't remember hearing about anything about a Dino or nothing else, but Hobson's history goes back quite a bit, so.
So let me ask you this: so what are your thoughts about the song overall, whether or not it's a diss or not?
I think it both is and isn't. I think he was trying to go two different routes in one song on that one,
Okay.
like Hobson would sometimes, basically.
Use it for multiple different stuff.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm looking up Hobson's background, I guess, if you will.
Yeah.
Because that's an interesting question. I didn't think about that.
Either way, I think we haven't heard the last of Swizz on the whole topic. And I'm still waiting for Hobson to respond. I
To
think
both of the songs, really.
I think at some point he's going to put the contacts back in and just go in on it.
Right.
He's going to stop trying to appeal to the masses or whatever, I guess you would say.
Right.
The Lil Wayne types that he's been going towards for some reason the last couple songs.
Okay, so Damian Ritter, his younger brother Swizz, was a former classmate of Hobson's at Monroe High.
Okay.
And Swizz was the first artist to be signed at Funk Volume. So, I mean, it's possible that the entire thing is about Hobson then.
Yeah.
So,
right.
because I remember Hobson in the video that's actually available on YouTube, where Kenny got a little bit of video about Hobson. Is that on this YouTube?
Yeah, it's on this.
Yeah. So, and he talks about how he lived in Maryland for a little while, but obviously he also lived out in L.A. Near Swizz and them. So, yeah. So, I mean, I guess if that's true, then we could take it as a track against everybody, all about Hobson, and much more directly dissing than his first track after the Funk Volume breakup. So. But the good news is this: Swizz is in the studio more in the last 6 weeks than he has been in the last 6 years.
Probably. At least the last couple years.
So Flash says, I like how much of a man crush that Kenny and I have on him. I think that it's just that this whole Funk Volume thing, back in the day, Funk Volume was everything that I guess you want. It's your buddies, you're hanging out, making music together, and it seemed like it's the kind of thing that like you want to have.
It was on its way to being like strange music, or back in the day when Cottonmouth King's label was going a little strong, or
yeah,
shit, even ICP's label when it was actually doing something worth.
And we really did like Hobson's music, so it was one thing that we liked Hobson's music. The Funk Volume, what do you call those? Like, they would get together every year. Not the Ill Mind, but they would get together and put out their own, album wide.
Funk Volume 20, whatever tracks.
Yeah. And I really dug those as well, and it gave you a good chance to... I mean, here's the thing that I think people don't understand. If you like Top 40, and I like Top 40, if you like Top 40, it's going to give you a certain something. If you go out and find other music, it gives you something completely different. What you're going to hear from somebody's, tape out of their trunk is going to be totally different than what you're hearing on the radio. And when you stumble into one of these shows at a basement somewhere, who knows where, for me it was in Brooklyn, and you see Immortal Technique rapping for the first time, changes the way that you see music. When you hear Hobson and Ill Mind for the first time, changes the way that you see music again. So, I mean, listen, I'll admit to having a man crush. I wish that he hadn't blown up fucking everything. And I mean, the problem is that we'll never know all the details.
No.
It could be that he was getting super screwed over. It could be that he really decided, I want to make a lot of money. I'm tired of this, like, doing it for the music thing. I'm ready to get paid. Damien, if you're going to focus on getting paid, then I'm with you. If not, then I'm done. And that's what they did. But if not, then that is what it is. Flash said, like when Fueled by Ramen did their little sampler CDs, kind of, except for when it came to Funk Volume, it was like, okay, we're going to put out 3 albums this year. Hobson's going to be one of them. Who gets the other 2? And then all of you are going to be featured on the tracks. But these mix were for all of those featured artists to get their own track on a release. And then you could have, Swizz would have his song featuring Hobson instead of Hobson featuring Swizz. And it doesn't, to most people, it probably doesn't seem like it means a lot. But if you are an up-and-coming artist, it means a shit ton to have that kind of exposure.
Yeah. So starting out, a lot of artists have to have bigger names featured just so it draws people in, especially in the internet age.
So back in the day when you're on LimeWire, you want to see the big name when you're downloading the track.
And
so,
it's the same thing with YouTube now. If you type in Tech 9,
right,
whoever he's been featured on, if somebody was willing to pay $10,000 to put him on the track,
right.
Or
and it helps bump you up.
Or if they were cool enough with Tech to get it for free. Gruesome got a free track with Tech because they were cool with each other for a long time.
Right. So, I mean, in the end, it's a man crush. Yes, I have a man crush on Hobson and Funk Volume and the whole 9. But I think also part of it is like, listen, why are people going to go... Something we were talking about before the cameras rolled. Why are people going to see Finding Dory? Why are people going to go see The Incredibles 2? Why do people go see Toy Story 4? Because when they want to feel a little bit of what they felt the first time they saw that movie. Every time that well, not anymore really, but when we talk about Hobson, when we talk about Funk Volume and Swizz and all those cats, it takes me back to being 22 and riding up and down Ocean Highway in Ocean City with the Funk Volume. It's not a sampler, but I can't remember. Funk the Funk Volume, or was that what it was called? No.
Are you thinking about the Don't Funk Up Our Beat contest they used to do?
Maybe that was it. Yeah, and then, and I'll be honest, I didn't pay for it. It was downloaded off the internet, and so I had that, and then I had like the Revolutionary Volume 2, and I'm just bumping up and down Ocean Highway, and when I hear Ill-Mind, well, not so much Ill-Mind 8 because that was kind of a blow-off as we've discussed previously, but when I hear these songs, it takes me back to being 22 and how that music made me feel. So it's like losing part of your childhood now. You know, it's like, young adulthood, not childhood, but it's like losing part of that when we see this big breakup. So we have gone through a divorce. It's like parents getting divorced, and now we're trying to be on both sides, and we want to hear the arguments on both sides, and more importantly, a lot like kids and families getting divorced, we want to know what the fuck happened. What happened that got us here?
Which parent are we taking?
Right. And so you're seeing the continual fight of the divorce as we are trying to figure out which parent we're going to go with. So, but you brought up Tech 9 there, so it's interesting because Tech 9 was actually in the news this week.
Yes. Apparently Corey Taylor from Slipknot has hooked Tech 9 up with their mask maker, which to me can only mean one thing. Now, he said it's the possibility of being the end of his face paint, which he's worn since 92. 94. Close enough. But I see the mask thing playing in a way like Hollywood Undead does, but not where it's just like a frontal, like a hockey mask style thing.
Right.
I think it'll be more like Slipknot, but the mouth will be cut out so you can use it on stage. And I think he'll probably end up having one for every song or every album to fit each mood. We'll definitely see the Worldly Angel and the Devil.
See, now, and I've never seen him... sorry, Flash says, yay, 2 Christmases. In a kind of a way, because when they put out songs, now we get... Now Swizz is making music, which is great. But anyway, so back to Tech 9. So, I never saw him live. Did he change the face paint between each song?
No.
Right. So it actually could improve the show if he has a different mask.
And he can just quickly switch.
Yeah, walk off stage, put on a different mask, and he goes. And the Slipknot guys have pretty involved masks. A couple episodes ago, we talked about Loki and how he rocks like the full facial mask. But these kind of mask guys can really do whatever you want. And in the story, he's sitting there in his like white makeup where they wipe the top of his head and it comes down. You can do that in a mask, have the same look, except for now he can just pop it off and pop something else back on and change the way that he does his shows. And I think you're right. It changes the mood of the song.
And Tech loves his theatrics. So.
Right. Anybody who saw his Anonymous video, which he didn't actually rap in, saw that he does like the theatrics of everything. So, so that, I mean, that's great. And so what are you thinking? Like, what are we going to expect from this mask, this mask man?
Coming from his mind, it'll be something crazy, that's for sure.
Right. And he's not buying it off the shelf. He's going to a group who does full facial masks. And did you see any of the responses on Twitter to that story? You're not on Twitter that often. So.
Not that often.
Okay. So one of the major things I saw was like, oh God, he's selling out. What are your responses to that?
How's going from paint to a mask selling out? I mean, we've all seen him without paint before. We've seen him wear masks and stuff at some point or another, just not usually on stage, because a lot of times if you buy a mask off the shelf, it's not made for your face, so it's not very comfortable.
And he raps very fast.
And low quality
if it has a mouthpiece,
a low quality mask would be very fucking hot to try to run around on stage for.
True.
Halloween comes around, go to Walmart, buy a fucking clown mask, and see how long you spend running around on that.
Yeah. On
stage with lights.
Right. So, what are you looking for as far as the masks are concerned? Now, you've named a couple of his, like, I don't want to say characters, but a couple of his personality traits. Mm-hmm. What would you want to see in the masks?
I just want to see it complete the story of the songs, to be honest with you.
So, how would that happen? For those who might not be as familiar with
look,
Tech
I mean, you
Nine.
got his clown persona, you have his gangster persona, his demon persona, you got his angel persona. That's why he has Worldly Angel tattooed on his arms. He says he always says he's all sixes and sevens.
Right.
So that's why the one album was named Sixes and Sevens. He's good and bad.
So you would want to see him coming out to shows with the different masks. So when he does one song in that certain persona, he has a mask that matches.
Now, I mean, he already tells a great story when he's on stage. They rehearse dance moves and stuff just like boy bands did back in the day. And for him to be able to jump and spit at the speed he does and do all the dancing at the same time, it's nuts. So I think it would just add a whole nother level to it.
Yeah.
It's telling the story.
Well, like I say, he's from that old school where, like, I want to say Usher, which is totally different, but Usher in one of his videos has a video of him running around a pool when he's like 14, singing while he's running around the pool. Because back in the day, you would actually sing while you were doing the dance moves. Not today, they do the voiceover track.
They loop it.
Yeah, and while you are dancing, it's playing over top of you or whatever. But
like Britney Spears, ain't she the one whose CD skipped or some shit when she was doing that?
Britney skipped, and then Ashley Simpson was one on SNL
like,
where
oh my
it
god,
played.
she lip synced.
Yeah.
Thing?
Well, but see, here's the thing: it's possible to do it without that. I mean, it looks like Tech Nine is about to be wearing a hot ass mask on stage, rapping and jumping around at the same time, just doing the whole nine. So it's possible, but you know, and he works harder on stage than most of these other cats do.
Yeah, because most people, they come out and they just stand there and they do their little walk back and forth, and that's it.
Right. I mean, now there are exceptions. Beyonce's show apparently she does a bit of dancing and moving on. So, so I mean, like, what are your thoughts about? Are there any concerns about going to the mask as opposed to the face paint?
No. I mean, I think when it comes down to it, he'll probably still end up doing the paint too, probably just less often. Because it does take a lot of time to sit there, even when he has the basic designs done. You still spend a good bit of time sitting in that chair.
Right.
And then when you start sweating, and it starts coming down into your eyes when you're on stage.
Yeah.
It's not fun. I've been there myself. It burns.
Well, and now, so he had a show this past weekend.
Yes.
And he kind of announced, if I remember, he was sitting in the chair getting the makeup done when he announced that it might be the last show.
Mm-hmm.
So now he's got Juggalo Fest. Is that what it is, Juggalo Fest?
Gathering of the Juggalos.
The Gathering of the Juggalos.
Which
coming
Loki
up.
will be at.
Right. So do you think that has anything to do with the changeover to the mask?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
He gets invited to that every year because fans love him.
Right.
He's a hot seller for selling tickets to get in there. I mean, you can't just have that Woodstock style concert going on and only have 4 or 5 artists there for a fucking 4 to 5 day period.
Right.
So they basically bring out basically anybody who's anybody from the underground to do, and they like there's concerts all night long, from like 8 o'clock in the morning till 4 a.m.
Right.
And they're actually doing a special concert this year involving Twisted and the rest of the people that used to be all on ICP's label. Back in the early 2000s, Violent J did an album called Wizard of the Hood. And it's basically the ghetto version of Wizard of Oz.
Okay.
But it was a funny album, and this year they decided they were actually going to do that on stage, and have stage props and everything, and everybody's going to come dressed out like the characters, the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, all that crazy stuff. That'd be probably interesting to see, at the least. If I went, that'd be like the one thing I'd have to see.
So, Flash poses an interesting question in the comments. And again, if you're not joining us in the comment section, you're missing out on half the podcast. We do read out some of the questions and comments, but obviously that there have been 14 comments thus far. So if you haven't seen them, you missed out on a bunch of them. But you can join us at youtube.com/c/DirtyShoreUG-OTA. Scroll down to the live comments section. Or just follow at Dirty Shore UG on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook to get that live link. But Flash asked, basically, well, I'm going to paraphrase her question. Do you think there's more marketability in so much as he can sell the masks that he wears on stage?
I mean, he could if he wanted to. Or he could do the Hollywood Undead thing and have the mask for himself while everybody scours the internet trying to find the fucking masks.
Or somebody makes the masks who not him. It's like, oh, do you want a copy of it?
It's just not that good a quality.
Right. Now, I mean, because she points out Dead Mouse.
You need to go lay down. It's bedtime.
I need my necklace.
I will bring it back to you when we're done.
I only ran out.
She points out Deadmau, who does now sell the the imagery of the mouse head is kind of like part of the cell now, because you can get the mask, but the helmet, you can get all that stuff. Is he going to go in that direction?
I'm not so sure that he will. It'll be interesting if he does. It'll sell like crazy, I'm sure.
And he's a guy who's kind of upfront about like, listen, you want me on the track? I'll be on the track. 10 grand and I'll go do it. So he's like, he doesn't shy away from any of that stuff. But, I mean, the question is whether or not he'll actually make moves in that direction.
I think it'll be supply and demand, really. If there's enough demand for it, he'll probably figure why not.
And, I mean, it's interesting that he's going to be at that festival with the Gathering with Loki, who does that almost specifically, makes the mask to sell. So, what the Fox say? Welcome to the podcast. Anyway, so I guess have you seen the show listing for the Return of the Juggalos? Or what is it, Gathering?
The Gathering of the Juggalos?
Sure, Gathering of the Juggalos.
I have not checked out the artist list yet.
Yeah.
It's usually really, really long.
Yeah.
But all the top acts are usually there. Tech9's going to be there. Loki's going to be there. Everybody from Strange will be there. Everybody from Twisted's label will be there. Cottonmouth Kings will be there. And all their underlings, I guess.
So is Kenny going to be there?
The hell no. Cannot afford $300 for a ticket. And I
Is
don't
it 300 a day or 300
$300 for the 4 days.
Okay.
And I really don't want to fucking spend 4 days out in the middle of a fucking campground.
Yeah.
And have to deal with people trying to steal my shit when I'm leaving my tent. Because there's assholes that do that. In fact, one year somebody stole somebody's shit and they found out who it was. That person's car was totaled and left there. They set it on fire and it's still sitting there, so people take pictures with that car every year now.
Well, going to things that you will be able to find us at. Coming up this weekend is finally the big wrestling event. We've been talking about it for a few weeks now. You can go back a couple of weeks on the episodes, and we did an interview with Russell, the Love Muscle, previewing the Adrenaline Wrestling is it a Adrenaline Wrestling Series?
Adrenaline Championship Wrestling.
Adrenaline Championship ACW. Yeah, Adrenaline Championship Wrestling event that's going to be happening here in Denton. If you still need tickets to that, make sure you contact Russell. He's got your tickets. You can sit VIP with us up in the front row, so make sure you get your tickets before Saturday. But that event is coming up on Saturday, June 26th, right here in Denton, Maryland. That's at the Fire Hall on 5th Avenue in Denton, Maryland. So what are your thoughts looking at this upcoming event?
I'm looking to have some fun like we did last time. More fun, more action. I will say this, this past Sunday I watched the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Not as fun as it used to be to watch.
Right.
Now I'm more of the indie kind of guy. I like watching the up-and-comers. They got more to prove. It's less about the story and more about the action and people that are actually trying to make something of themselves and give up more athletic ability.
Yeah. Well, I will say that I didn't watch the Money in the Bank, but I did hear from a lot of people that was like, come on, let's get in the ring, let's do something. It was a lot of talky in the back, talky in the ring, and just not getting anything done. And the event that we went to in Milford last time was a little bit of talking, a little bit of trash talking, but a lot of action. And of course, that event is where Russell the Love Muscle became the
Indie Roundup champion.
The Indie Roundup champ. Now, of course, as he said in his last interview with us, he won't be putting the championship belt up. So this is a different league, yeah, a different promotion. So he won't be risking the belt, which is good because I don't know that I would enjoy it as much if I had to sit there like, oh God, is he going to lose it? But you know, so I am looking forward to the event. And again, people should come out and join us on Saturday night. Do you remember what time it starts?
Doors open at 6:30. But first bell is at 7. I remember the last time I went there to the Denton Fire Hall for a wrestling show, probably 10 or 11.
Yeah.
And I remember people flying off the top of the ropes, and they had to duck as they were flying off so they wouldn't hit the ceiling. So it makes it more interesting. You have to be a little bit more aware of what's around you in a smaller venue like this, but it should be fun nonetheless.
Yeah, and I mean, these little events, I mean, you don't really think about it, but they can get pretty crazy. And there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of moving parts, and again, like you said, it's guys trying to prove themselves, and I think that's the best part of it all, is the guys who are out there trying to show what they can do.
I got knocked over at the one when I was a little kid. I was walking down the pathway to go to get something to drink, and 2 of the wrestlers came running out of the backside down that same way and just knocked me over and kept going and jumped the barricade into the ring.
So yeah, doors are at 6:30. First bell is at see Russell the Love Muscle. You want to make sure ringside at the front row, so keep an eye out for us there. And of course, we will be posting live updates. You'll be able to find the live updates on Facebook on the Dirty Shore UG page. You can also follow me on Periscope at Robert N. Cheek. I'll be periscoping as well, so make sure you join us for that. And I'm trying to find Gangrel is former WWE superstar is joining. And King of Maryland.
Ministry of Blood, I think they were called.
Right.
With Edge and Christian back in the day.
And the King of Maryland, Kindred, will be there as well.
They're tag teaming. As you can see, they both had that vampire persona.
Right, yeah. So, it's at the Denton Volunteer Fire Company. That's 400 South 5th Street in Denton, Maryland. We had that wrong. Doors open at 7. Bell time 7:30.
I must have changed it.
Yeah, so join us there as well, obviously.
Yeah, it's funny because I could have just looked at the ticket. I wonder if the ticket says something different.
And of course, more information available on Facebook, Dirty Shore Underground, or Dirty Shore UG on Facebook. You can find information there, as well as adrenalinewrestling.com. But definitely looking forward to that. And like I said, we had a good time last time, and so I'm expecting to be more of the same this time, and we'll keep you guys updated as we go along. So, something else maybe I'm going to get done this weekend is to finally go see Warcraft. Now, did you ever play Warcraft when you were little?
I played Warcraft 2 and Warcraft 3. Matt actually paid for a month of me to play World of Warcraft with him because he wanted somebody to play with, and I played it for like 4 hours.
Yeah.
I just quit playing.
Sorry, just to jump back, Flash. VIP seats, where you'll be sitting with us in the VIP section, are $30. General admission is $20, and kids 8 to 12 are $10. Kids under 7 are free, I believe. So you can find more information about tickets at adrenalinewrestling.com and get those tickets from Russell, the Love Muscle, on Facebook, or just check out the show notes of this episode. We'll have more information there. So you played for a little bit of Warcraft, but obviously the movie is based on Warcraft 1, which kind of sets up the struggle between the Alliance and the Horde.
I played it on Super Nintendo.
Wow, way back in the day. So, any desire to go see the movie?
I think I'll wait for it to come out.
Okay.
I mean, it looks interesting, but who knows? I've
Right.
never seen Avatar either, so.
Yeah, I don't know how you've never seen Avatar. They're coming out with the sequel already. But so the interesting thing about Warcraft is that it did abysmally here. $24 million opening weekend. And the movie cost $140 million to make. So everyone's shouting, like, it's a bust, it's a bust. But cleared $156 million in China alone. Overseas was over $200 million on opening weekend. So it's... I mean, when you played, were you finding a lot of foreign players? For some reason, I had this idea, because here's what I'll say. When I was in high school, I went to World of Warcraft parties, where people would set up LAN parties, and so everybody in the room's in the same...
like that South Park episode?
Basically, yeah, just like that South Park episode. But everybody in the room is in the same, not the cult, but the same crew, whatever they are. And so that way they are all together, and then they're going out on these adventures together, whatever it is. I would sit out by the pool and drink and talk to girls, while all the guys were inside playing the video game. So, lesson for guys, don't bring your girlfriend to a party where you're just going to sit and play video games. Because then they're going to meet somebody like Rob out by the pool, and then the pool house is right over there. But, besides that fact, I mean, I saw that there were a lot, it was big for our generation. There was a lot of kids playing it. So I was a little disappointed, I guess, that it did so poorly opening weekend. And you would think that we got a couple of big video game movies coming out. Angry Birds did all right. It didn't do as well as anybody was going to think, but it did okay. Then Warcraft tanked. And now in November, as you've heard us talk about before, we have Assassin's Creed coming up. Now, I think Assassin's Creed, as we discussed previously, is something totally different. Because even people who didn't play the game will like it. Because it's an adventure story. Warcraft was... The commercials are the orcs and, the guys fighting. I don't know that everyone's going to be down for that. So, but you would think that more people who played the game would go watch the movie.
I will say this, with RPG games and stuff like that, it doesn't surprise me that it was more popular overseas.
Yeah.
I used to exclusively play late at night when I knew Chinese and Japanese players were on.
Yeah.
Because most of the English people are some greedy ass bitches and will kick you out of the party at the last second so that they get what you've been fighting hours on end to get.
Right, yeah.
So, and the Chinese and Japanese always knew what they were doing. I leveled faster because I was with parties that weren't dying consistently.
Right.
So that really does not surprise me.
So apparently it was more popular overseas than I knew. But here's the other thing. Just as a note to companies that are putting out video games based on MMORPG games. These are cats who spend a lot of time on the internet. Not necessarily the best idea, because those are the guys who are going to go stream it for free or otherwise from their house. Because why would they go out to the movie theater? They could just watch it at home. Mm-hmm. They could watch it like Colin does with 2 screens and just have Warcraft on one screen and play Warcraft on the other screen. So,
that's bad.
And nothing against it, but they're not necessarily the people who are going out. And I think they wanted to build this, a new universe where they could do more of the games and more of the storyline. But, I mean, I don't know if they'll be able to do it now. They made money on the movie, but today it's not just about making money. It's about you have to make a lot of money They invest
They were
150,
saying
make
it was the
400.
most successful video game movie ever for how bad it did.
Yeah, which is again one of the problems is that video game movies do very poorly. Before this, like Mario Brothers was a relatively good job.
I enjoyed it.
But they put a lot of money in that movie and it didn't make the money back. So by breaking even and making a profit, Warcraft has not done better than any of the other video game movies. But fingers crossed, it's going to get blown out of the water by Assassin's Creed. And we were talking a little bit earlier about Dory, Finding Dory, which was the largest animated opening ever. So you know, we're in that zone where you can still make a ton of money if you're putting out the right product. So hopefully they'll continue to put out good product. And like I said, Assassin's Creed I think is a totally different experience. And I think that you're going to get a lot of people who are just going for the movie experience, never played the game. While some of us in there will be like, hey, no, that's not how it happened. That's not what happened. You just skipped a whole plot point.
Let me get that VR headset. I'll show you how it's done.
Exactly right. Yeah. So before we get out of here, we want to make sure that we do an update on the DDP. Obviously, the hashtag DSUG Summer Challenge. Oh, I missed a couple of comments. Sorry there, guys. Flash, yes, they don't want to leave their house. And I think that it'll be important to look at DVD Blu-ray sales because, like you said, I'll probably honestly not go see it in the theater. I don't have time to go to the theater. I don't really want to go to the theater. But I will see it on Netflix. I'll see it on disc, or I'll just get it direct on demand. So I think it'll be important to wait and see what that kind of shakes out to at the end. So as an update, though, hashtag DSUG Summer Challenge is still ongoing. I saw that Flash updated this week that she has hit 10 pounds lost during the DSUG Summer Challenge. So congratulations to you, Flash. Obviously, we are into week 3 now.
Yeah,
week 3.
Just started week 3.
Right. It's weird because we're doing it on Monday is the first start of the week, and now we're moving on. Flash says Colin still has yet to join in the challenge. Colin, I don't know what you're waiting for, man, but let's get down to it. Let's get going.
He's got 2 screens, so he could
do whatever you want.
Still play. While working out.
So how are you feeling about the challenge altogether?
Still waiting for my knee to start working better with me. So I do energy a lot because that helps with the knees.
Yes, it does.
And then I throw in right now red hot core a couple times a week. And with me crawling around under houses and shit again, it's all catching up to me.
Yeah.
And so after doing my workouts each night, I'm just ready for bed. I don't even feel like doing anything else. So I'm down 3 more pounds.
And I'll say the energy has been good for flexibility. I've been trying to work on flexibility. If you are following the beginner track on the DDP Yoga along with us, then today is the first shift. The first time we're doing Red Hot Core officially is today. So make sure that you get down to do that today. I've been throwing in the wake-ups every morning that I wake up in time to do it. Energy, toss in a wake-up whenever I can, or just a little extra workout here and there. Always helps. And I mean, it's not meant for the busy life, unfortunately. Like I was at my house. I left my house on Friday morning at 6 a.m. and I got back to my house on Sunday night. So not a lot of time in between, obviously, to do anything. But as you suggested in the opening, DDP, maybe some workouts that we can do in the car. That would be fantastic. If you could find some for me to do in the car, I'd actually greatly appreciate that. So, but
waiting for Uber rides to put the seat down and stretch.
Oh yeah. Just reach back. Maybe I could just do a diamond cutter in the car on the way while I'm waiting, sitting at a light. Like, sorry, hang on 1 sec. I got to do a diamond cutter. All right, back to it.
That would work fairly well if you had a convertible.
Hey, yeah. It's not very well with my car.
Reactions. Put it down, just like...
My car, though, maybe not the best. So, so I'm trying to think. Is there anything else that Flash said do them in a parking lot? The problem is I don't park a lot. Mostly it's just like go. I've been doing a lot of runs in Ocean City and a lot of runs in Baltimore. So it's been a lot to do, and I haven't had a lot of time to just have downtime. I've just been in the car driving everywhere and then writing. So
Well, luckily, Red Hot Core is only about 15 minutes long, so that should help a little bit.
oh, that was one thing I wanted to mention too about writing. The new episode of Heretics was out. Did we talk about that last time?
No, I
I
don't
can't
think
remember if it came out.
It didn't come out till after last week's
Friday. Yeah.
episode.
So, did you get the chance to see the new episode of Heretics?
I don't know how I feel about the Church of Aquaman,
Why is that?
because I don't really care for Aquaman.
Okay, but that's okay. You're allowed to not care about Aquaman. Clearly, it looked like even Jason didn't care that much about Aquaman. So, but what were your thoughts overall?
I thought it was funny how he was trying to get the girl to fucking buy into it for $15,000 a month.
Yeah,
Like, really? Come on. Nobody's gonna buy into that shit.
this was one of my favorite episodes thus far. We had two super professional actor and actress. The air conditioning actually was broken in the office that we were doing it in, so it was hot by the end of the day, and everybody pushed through. Flash agrees it was one of her favorite episodes, or it was her favorite episode thus far. We got a lot of stuff coming in the pipeline, so I hope you guys stay tuned for that. But make sure you check out Heretics on the Anthem at otheanthem.com. It is a pleasure doing these things. We enjoy it immensely, and I hope that everybody enjoys watching them. So, and I got to say that the open for this episode was one of my favorite things that I've ever seen us do. The DMZ, and then the text messaging back and forth. I don't know why, it just cracked me up every time I watched it. I just could not get enough of it. So I hope everybody did enjoy that. And if you are a director or in casting or anything, I have now 4 really fantastic. I'm not gonna take Corey out of that because he's not a very good actor, but I have 4 really fantastic actors for you. Be sure to get in touch with us at the Anthem. We would love to get them involved in your project. They did such good work for us, and we'd really like to push them on to other people. So, Flash says so hard to share, not to share being a Patreon subscriber.
I found this on the floor.
And yes, of course, if you are a Patreon subscriber, you did get early access to Heretics. So make sure that you join us on Patreon, patreon.com/otheanthem. The donations there actually helped us get this episode out on time because Corey had a computer problem where he almost lost the entire thing. He had to go out and buy new memory. And thanks to our Patreon subscribers, we were able to get the episode out on time. So a big thank you to you guys on Patreon for being subscribers. As I keep saying, for as little as $1 a month, you can help support the podcast, help us put out all of this great content, and it really helps us to know that we have such good support out there. And it's not just giving; you actually get something in return. You get early access to this stuff. You get the pre-roll footage from the Anthem podcast, new episodes of that podcast every Tuesday. And you get all sorts of other bonuses. So make sure you check that out. Patreon.com/ODAnthem. And if you have any questions, you can contact us on there. Certainly, it's a great way to support the podcast, the whole network, so that we can keep producing all of this great free content for you week after week. So, do you have anything else going on for this week?
I think that's about it. Hopefully
Okay.
next week's a better week, but then
Well,
again, we also have our wrestling review to do, so...
Next week will be all about wrestling. So if you are a wrestling fan, join us next week. Also, make sure that you're following at Dirty Shore UG on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We'll be sure to update there during the show. If you come out to the show at 400 South 5th Street, there at the Denton Volunteer Fire Company, make sure you come find us. Dirty Shore will be in the house, sitting in the front row, the VIP section, so make sure you join us there during the show. Otherwise, follow on all your social networks so that you can get inside scoops and views of the event. And of course, make sure you check out DirtyShoreUnderground.com. New episodes of the podcast every Thursday. While you're there, click on over the Amazon link. It's a great way to support the podcast if you don't want to be a Patreon subscriber. You can find me on all your social networks at Robert N. Cheek. Make sure you check out robertncheek.com for more information about me, to check out my political website, or my political blog, the news website, to sign up for my mailing list, and for everything else that I have going on. All that information is available there. Of course, this podcast is a proud member of the OD Anthem Digital Network, so make sure you check them out at odanthem.com. New episodes of that podcast every Tuesday at OD Anthem on all your social networks, and check out our sister podcast, Anthem Alliance, at anthemalliancepodcast.com and at Anthem Alliance on all your social networks. So make sure you check out all of that stuff. All of that free material brought to you by OD Anthem Digital. You can't beat it. So I'm looking forward to this weekend. Make sure you're following along with us, playing along with us on social networks, and we will see you at the show there. Anything else from you?
That's it.
All right, have a great week, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Leg that out into 45 minutes.
It's kind of rare, ain't it?
Yeah, I know.